What is up, everybody? Welcome to day one of the HGC Chinathon with Tetra and I standing ready. Although it's pretty early in the morning, but hey, we're going to get up at any time during the day if that means that we get to present to you some of the finest HGC China games. Tetra, how are you doing, good sir?
Sleepy. Also, it was a very interesting, you very nearly did a good Rick impression there from Rick and Morty during that intro. But you are correct. We are going to have some fantastic games today. This, having looked at it before the stream started, might be the best day schedule that we have had to date in terms of potential for good matches.
Oh, yeah. Like, yesterday was a little bit of a letdown to many fans out there, I think, because if you're a fan, of those high octane games in China with, one top tier team facing another one, then yesterday was a little bit of a disappointment because we've had those, top versus bottom duels all across the board. However, today we're going to have so many high class matches waiting for you guys. We're going to have, I looked at it, BTG versus SBT. We're going to have, help me out, dude. You got the schedule right in front of you.
Yes, I do. I was also trying to deal with a little micro lag.
Yeah, same here.
Yes, we have BTG versus SPT. We have BTG versus the One. Rough day for them. We have the One versus CE. We have the A-Team versus RPG and RPG versus SPT. And the battle at the bottom of the table, Team Nut versus KT. And finally, the A-Team versus CE.
Nice. A-Team versus CE. Definitely going to be an interesting one. But also, those battle at the bottoms, as you call them, they have their own charm. They have their own merits. And those are definitely going to be interesting to watch as well. Because, there is not that much time left, Tetra, for the regular season of HGC China play. So that means teams only have today and tomorrow to basically determine their starting positions for the playoffs next week, which will then determine, of course, who goes to BlizzCon, who goes to the Crucible in China, and who maybe has to leave the league. So yeah, pretty cool stuff coming up. I did do a little bit of a restart on my stream.
Me too.
So I'm sitting at straight up
4.
I'm sitting at straight up 6, so that should be fine still.
Close enough. I might try and get that. I'm going to try and get down to you a bit.
All right. Meanwhile, we have a quick look at our current standings. We have BTG currently leading the top of the table here with 4 points, 4 points difference to SPT, 24 to 20. However, if I'm doing the math correctly here, we got 11. Oh, that's actually even games. Even games because SPT faltered a little bit yesterday, didn't they?
Yes, SPT and BTG are both at the top of the table in terms of points and games. They have played the same amount. But they are still ahead of the One. The One are only on 20 games, whereas both these teams are on 22.
That is correct. And then, of course, we have RPG sitting somewhat in the middle, followed by A-Team, KT, and Team Nut. And I think it's safe to say that these three teams are not really going to play a major role in terms of standings and positioning anymore.
They are mathematically out of the running for first place outside of the playoffs. They have to work their way up from the bottom to the top in playoffs. But it is still mathematically possible for them to overtake RPG and CE, for example.
Yep.
Maybe even the One.
That is indeed true. So if all of these teams all of a sudden show up big time, without dropping a single map, be it the A-Team, be it KT, then everything's possible for them, as we said. And if we remember last playoffs, right, the A-Team was sitting at the very bottom of the table. Nobody really had them on their radar anymore. And boom, there they went, winning 4 games in a row to Oliver's surprise. It was amazing to see. So it's going to be interesting to watch whether history is going to repeat itself or if the more established teams, if you will, are truly going to dominate this time around.
And here you see the schedule. You can see that basically every team today plays twice. The A-Team play twice, RPG and CE against the A-Team and the One. The One get BTG and CE, as previously mentioned. The only team that doesn't play twice today is Team Nut. Actually, do KT? Let me double check that. Schedule on here. KT also don't play twice today. So KT and Team Nut are the only teams that get a relatively easy day.
But Tetra, did you see that beyond the game, after a relatively easy play day yesterday, they're going to have to face 2 of the strongest teams in the league. So I think today is probably going to be the ultimate challenge to estimate, the power level of BTG. Are they truly still the #1 team in China like they were at the beginning of the phase? Or have they really, crumbled down into another, good team, but not the best team anymore.
Yeah, today they have to play against the 2 and 3 seed teams, with them being seed 1 at the moment. CE also have to do a similar thing, where CE have to play against seed 1. CE only have to play against the 1, so it's the 1, sorry, I got them the wrong way round. The 1 also have to play against seed 3 and 1, which is pretty rough for them as well, as they've already had their match versus SPT.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, SPT, I said this yesterday, they look super strong. However, then they had this occasional, 1-1 blunder, in which I'm like, how and why did that happen exactly? And then we have the team that you just mentioned, looking so strong. I think they actually look the strongest probably out of all the top 4 teams in China. So I'm super excited to see a little bit more of them. But before we get too excited, before we drift away into, thinking about all those top tier teams, let's think about those 2 teams here, RPG and the A team. RPG is one of those in the interesting position right now, I would say, in which they could theoretically enter top 4, top 3. However, they have no more space, no more room left for mistakes. And yesterday, unfortunately, they showed us plenty of it.
They did show a lot of mistakes, but they do have 2 matches today, 2 opportunities to make points. One against a low-ranked team. The team right below them, to be fair, but they have doubled their points. Yeah. RPG are looking pretty good this season. Even if they lose 2-0 to the A team today, they are still significantly ahead of them. The A team, last time these 2 teams played against each other, RPG scored a 2-0, which is going to be what they want to do today. And as I mentioned yesterday, all of these teams, every single one has 4 games left. Most of them had 4 games, had 3 or 4 games left, meaning the most they could score was 12 points. In some cases, the most they can score is 9. RPG, with 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow, have 4 games left, meaning that they can score a maximum of 12 points, meaning at max, they can score a 26, meaning that if they win all their games and beyond the game lose all their games, and something terrible happens to SPT somehow as well, then they've, somehow, beyond the game, Super Perfect Team, the 1, and CE need to score less than 26. Yeah. But it is possible for RPG to finish in first this season, but it's absurd statistics.
Absolutely. And speaking of something absurd, we've seen DSL yesterday on a very absurd hero in his own regards, I would say, because he's not really known as, the specialist type of guy. He's more known as you can see here, someone who plays the good old auto attackers, right? The stutter step intense heroes like Vala, like Cassia. However, yesterday he showed us a little bit of his Nazeebo, and while I wouldn't say that the Nazeebo itself was bad by any means, the rest of the draft didn't really make any sense. It made sense, but it wasn't executed properly. Let's phrase it this way.
Yeah, it backfired a little bit, so didn't work out this case. But the potential for it was there. The damage output was good. It's just that it did backfire a little bit too much this time.
All right, let's see what the A team has to offer. Still that miraculous team of last phase's playoffs that surprised so many. They sometimes look really good, and they sometimes look really one-dimensional, I might want to say. Yesterday, for example, we've seen them try their infamous Illidan again. And although it was Bruiser on that hero, of course, one of the strongest melee assassins, I would actually say, in the league, period. I think he oftentimes stands out as the big playmaker in that team. It wasn't really successful. The enemy team was too well prepared. They were countered so hard with that Cassia, for example, and the ETC Muradin frontline. It was not pretty to watch. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, speaking of that Cassia, the A team, I would have expected them to maybe ban it. This is what almost all the teams that have beaten RPG in recent time have done as their opening, banning a pretty much insert hero here and then immediately banning out the Cassia afterwards. But instead, the A team removing Hammer, which, to be fair, is DSL's second most played hero, and then banning out the Dahaka. Without picking Yrel or anything like that, I think they're trying to force RPG to prioritize the solo laners, which I think is fine on this map.
Yeah, let's see what they're going to pick up here. MJ plays his White Mane again. Pretty good in that hero. It's really strong. The more I play White Mane myself, actually, in Hero League and other game modes, the more I actually start to really like her. Scarlet Aegis feels amazing during team fights. If you hit that on most of your squad, maybe the entire team of yours, it's almost impossible to lose a team fight if the enemies just fight into that 40 armor, into that AoE healing.
Here's where we're different. I love the Aegis, but I personally find the Divine Reckoning is significantly more fun.
That is true. It's always more fun to watch your enemies burn.
Yeah, but watch your teammates heal up. If you've got zeal on everyone and you just drop that on multiple people. I watched the Diablo go with a combination of his W and my Divine Reckoning. I watched the Diablo go from like 10% health to max and just kill everyone. It was gorgeous. There's that Cassia band. That makes me happy. The A-team continuing to show that they've done their research here.
Yeah, and I'm also glad what RPG did here, by the way, Tetcher. I mean, yesterday we fell back into our almost daily routine of bashing on Pa a little bit, right? Ranged assassin player for RPG, because he didn't seem to have the best of his days. We probably saw the weakest Hanzo of all phase long. And finally, he's back on the Phoenix, which he performed so admirably well on a few days ago.
Yrel ignored Blaze, prioritized over her. This can make sense. It's good protection for the Phoenix, especially for the white main, as long as they don't double up on the bunker and the Aegis, so that they get maximum armor value. They could get some serious work done. There's a Malthael Li Ming, very aggressive here. Bruiser on that Malthael. Not as well known as, say, Hugo, but still potentially very scary. Almost exclusively picks the Tormented Souls.
Also, I love the Malthael into the Blaze matchup. I think that should be an easy win for Malthael if no ganks are happening or if no reinforcements come down to help Blaze. So that should be a pretty good matchup for him. Also, as we mentioned, we do have the potential of double anti-healing with Deckard Cain in the cubes and Touch of Death on Malthael. So they can really cripple White Main's healing output if they so desire. And we are going to see the first Falstad showing here from DSL, trying to widen and expanding his hero pool even more, which is pretty cool.
Since he has joined RPG, this is his first Falstad. However, Falstad, up until when he was called Qin Zhao, when he was playing for SPT, Falstad was his second most played hero behind Valor, where he had a 55% win rate on it over 20 games. Once again, that doesn't sound like much, but then you remember that his Valor games, the only hero he picked more was 58 at that time. So it was the double support better. There wasn't exactly much room for things that weren't Valor.
And isn't it funny? Like, how long was that ago, Tetra? Can you tell from looking at the stats?
Maybe.
Because it was probably like at least a year ago, maybe slightly less than a year.
25th of January 2018.
There we go. So not an entire year, but almost. And it's pretty fascinating to see how Falstad hasn't changed much. In fact, he hasn't changed a lot in terms of, power level, in terms of buffs and nerfs, sides, Blizzard. But he's still in that meta, right? He's one of those timeless heroes that can almost always be picked simply because of his utility on his heroic abilities and his global.
Well then, looks like we are preparing to head into our first game of the day. It is the A-team looking to try and move themselves closer to that top 6 position, to that top 5 position, and also escape the people at the bottom of the table. Or can RPG shut them down? Let's find out with the A-team on the left with LK, Olele, Bruiser, Stugos, and Yeetskook.
On the right, in the reds, we're seeing RPG represented by Free Show, MJ, Pa, C, and DSL, formerly known as Yanjiao. So, standard Clemency build on White Main up to this point. No more Qs. I think China has finally caught up in terms of, how they want to build White Main. With the nerfs to her Q talents, or many of her Q talents, I should say, the overall Inquisition build just feels a little more impactful.
Yeah, quite surprised we haven't seen at least a team. I need to be careful about saying that, I guess, in this game. I'm surprised we haven't seen at least one team try a Searing Lash build, just for maximum damage heals, but that is yet to be the case. It gives you no out-of-fight healing at all, similar to the Q build, and is a little less immediate single target burst healing, so requires a little more setup, probably require the opposing team to have less damage, which is why we don't see it.
It can also be very spiky because it relies on you hitting your skill shots. So if that one misses, for example, you're losing a lot of value from your build. For now, though, speaking of those skill shots, there is a lot of action going down onto Johanna. The Li Ming Arcane Orb also connects. And already much damage taken on Johanna. She needs to go back to the Healing Fountain or wait for more healing from White Main, which is currently busy. Who's currently busy, healing Falstad back up. So those rotations by the A-team look very frightening already. Yeetskook, is he trying to go onto Johanna? Nope. Iron Skin is out now, so he might try to initiate now. Here we go.
Perfect angle, finds the corner on the wall, and DSL, sorry, not DSL, C gets taken out there. And that was just unnecessarily brave posturing, I find.
Exactly.
He was playing way too aggressively. Now we're going to see a revenge attempt as DSL rotates up to the top lane onto Bruiser, gets the slow, but with Freeshow already using his stun, Bruiser just casually walks behind the gate, and they don't miss any XP, but that was not great value. Here's where they can gain value if they take down this Merc camp as well.
Yeah, shouldn't really be too much of a difficulty here. 2 heroes are more than enough to take it. Blaze could have done it all by himself, but of course would have taken significantly longer. Another gank attempt onto Bruiser, trying to juke onto C from the right, through the right, and he makes it our life. The unkillable, elusive Malthael.
Bruiser refuses to die, but in this case, we'll have to see how long that keeps up for. But another kill by the A-team, finding that white main a little far out of position, aka not in lane, because against this composition with Diablo, second you don't see Diablo, you're already in danger. As
exactly,
we see
and especially
pushing up the lane. Good Iron Skin.
Yeah, that was a really good one compared to the previous one that we witnessed. We also saw a kill finally in top lane happen. It was a 1-for-1 trade though, because Blaze dove a little too deep there, was fired upon by those towers, and as a result had to give his own life there as well. Pretty even game, I think, both teams with a couple of mistakes already, especially in terms of, you know, positioning and rotating here. But both teams will have all members back for that first altar phase.
Yisko hovering around once again, looking to try and trap anyone who oversteps. It's exactly what Diablo is set up for in this game. He is able to punish these squishy heroes, especially as we are pre-white main cleanse, that intercession. So she's able to make all those plays. So now, see, waiting for his chance. In the meantime, DSL, what are you doing here? He is killing Bruiser is what he's doing. He's going to die to LLK, but that is a cheeky little kill that's going to delay this left side altar, which is fantastic. This is a 3 versus 3 down here. It gave time for Blaze to finish the one on the right, assuming Blaze can zone out or kill LLK, or at least delay long enough for his team to hopefully win bot lane, then he's going to create some crazy value here. C should be able to get the denial once again, and this is one of the cheekiest plays I've seen in a long time, but Malthael is on the way back. Falstad is too. Does Falstad have fly? Yes, he does. He's on the way.
He's coming in, making it a 2 versus 2. Look at Freeshaw already dealing some terrible damage onto LK. Now he takes some damage himself, though. Malthael dies a second time, and that should be the altar because DSL. Oh my god. DSL, you ran right into those missiles. The resets are real there as well.
Beautiful resets. They traded out, and as such, it is going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of the A-team.
Wow.
That was pretty crazy. That was incredibly bad luck and a little bit of missed micro by Falstad, not predicting and not reacting to the abilities of Li Ming, and as such, setting up that reset, killing off both DSL and Freeshaw.
So I think DSL is a little bit to blame, but it's also unlucky for him, as you said, because he tried to avoid the magic missiles. It was just LK being too smart. He anticipated the escape path of Falstad and aimed his missiles accordingly. And speaking of LK, he's currently putting on a show on that Li Ming, getting another aggressive kill with that blink. But then the real mistake, in my opinion, was Freeshow on that Blaze. He should have let go of that altar. He should have retreated immediately. He should have seen the reset, but he took it. He took the gamble, and he thought he would channel before the Li Ming ability would actually hit him, but he took the wrong gamble.
Outside the ending, that was such a cool move by RPG, but it really just did not. It's like you're reading a book, and the first 20 pages, the first like 200 pages were as good as Shakespeare, and then you turn it round and suddenly it's Mad Libs in the last chapter. Everything backfires, and you're like, oh, this did not end how I expected it to. As we see Yeatscook pushing in with the rest of his team. They've got the sappers, and this won't finish off this bottom bell tower, but it will certainly weaken it in preparation for the next objective phase.
Yep, the blinds go through, stalling the damage at least for a few seconds here, a few moments. But look at us, C. Probably going to find himself in a lot of trouble. In the meanwhile, we saw another kill against DSL. The top lane has not really been working out for RPG up to this point. The same people basically getting themselves into trouble over and over again, and especially for DSL. That is a very unusual performance. We're normally used to seeing him carry to be the pillar, of his team. But this time he looks more like a liability. Never thought I would say that.
I mean, give him some time. He is playing one of the squishier heroes in the game. Good speed, using that level 4 to escape Diablo. And Neatscook, has he overextended here? He's putting on the pressure. Look at all that healing from Decker, though. He does not care. DSL comes in. C is low, but they finish off Olele instead. The slow still being applied by Par, but C actually giving Neatscook an escape route. He's slow. He's got Sono and health. Free show. Body blocks gonna try and save the day, but he's actually taking a lot of damage himself. Lightning breath being dropped. Free show gets cleansed. He will back up and boost out. And that will be a 1-for-0. Pre-level 10. Great timing by RPG and actually a very sensible retreat.
Yeah, strong potioning there as well coming in from Stugos on Decker Kane, really keeping Diablo alive, and that could actually be a problem for RPG. If you looked at the damage output, there was very little burst damage available when you have assassins like Phoenix and Falstad, right? It could become a little better after that level 10 hits. DSL in trouble, needs to get into the bunker. There we go. Took a lot of damage still. The
salvo coming out, LK dropping low. DSL just stayed in the bunker that entire time because he knew the risk of Li Ming finally getting out, and he's going to move up from above. Gets a beautiful gust into the corner, but no capitalization available as Free Show is already too low. He will be sniped, and that will be a 1-for-0 in this fight unless they can catch C.
Again, I think the problem of not having enough burst damage available, both Phoenix and Falstad are good damage dealers, don't get me wrong, but they failed to deliver those big killing blows. And Raynor plus Li Ming in that regard, they're just getting more done with, you know, less time needed, if you will. And the A team is currently dominating RPG, something I never thought would occur when I saw those two teams on the paper.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're still going to be able to get a 1-for-1 trade. Decker not moving forward that quick, so it's unlikely he will get more than one denial. In fact, he doesn't even get one denial, using a Lord Nado for the attempt there, but it moves pretty slowly. And as such, it's a simple trade out. But see, he's already had to rotate down to bot lane to start dealing with the Sapper camps. With Olele coming in, at least one of these will make it onto the bell tower.
The damage!
C, nicely done.
Oh, Lele here with that level 7 unstable compound and the slow provided by penetrating rounds and the Banshee there on top of it as well. Ace in the hole just got so much value, and I'm not even sure if C was expecting that much damage, but we talked about superior assassin damage, superior assassin play up to this point. The A team completely on fire.
They are so far ahead. It is 10-4 in terms of kills, 12-11, only a full level lead, but that is actually recoverable. RPG moving back to Toto's defense positions. This looks familiar. Can DSL dodge it this time? Yes, he can. He's going to stay alive, at least for the time being. So now it's about this defense in the bot lane. How quickly can they re-clear this? The problem is not very, because look at their siege damage. It's mostly non-existent. They have to rely on Par to get into that rapid-fire mode, or the assistance of Free Show. But they're doing this at the cost of Falstad, who's died in the top lane.
Falstad died in the top lane. In the meanwhile, we have another strong fight coming out in the bottom. At this point, it's safe to say that RPG is trying to get a grip back into this game, but they're not 13. They're losing Falstad too many times there in the top lane. No effect on that global up to this point, really. C is trying to make a play happen here. Has that Iron Skin, but Diablo, too tanky, won't fall. And without that bottom bell tower, I don't think there's anything RPG can hope to do to reach that bottom altar.
LK comes in, looking for the first reset to really get the punishing play. Blessed Shield had to be burned there. There's a quick heal coming in with the Unstoppable as they move forward. DSL looks for the angle, a beautiful scroll of sealing onto Blaze, but it's not enough because the healing is coming out. But in the meantime, double altars being captured as the core health of an RPG begins to tick down. Free Show is getting targeted. He's very far forward, but it's all a distraction while they try to kill Free Show.
Yeah, Bunker isn't ready yet. Free Show doesn't have any saving tools available anymore. The flames, they tickle him on the retreat a little too much. Blaze gets killed by fire and flames, which is pretty ironic to me.
LK also went for a big dive there onto White Maid and got her within like a 10th of her health, but wasn't able to finish the job. But aggressive play. LK continues to prove to be that god on any hero. I think like if I had to compare to a player from a different region, he is like the Shwimpy of this Shwimpy or the Wobby. The Wobby's mostly solo laner, so probably the Shwimpy of this region, where you just give him anything and he will play it well.
I'm super excited about the A team today. They showed up like a different team from yesterday, to be honest, and it's so cool to see. That is a little bit of a risky move, though. Never mind. They have good vision on the bottom, so it's actually just fine. Oh boy, you don't. No.
Wave of Force. Nice move. Free Show moving back to LK, moving forward, looking for another kill. There it goes. And we're going to see the backup. I want to see a 1v1 between LK and LLK at this point, because both of them are like starting to become standouts in their teams. I think that 1v1 could be pretty dope. But either way, we see the A team burning through the sap account.
At this point, I'm just starting to wonder whether LK is the Padawan of LLK, and he has to earn his second L at some point.
They're just ranked in terms of L's. I like that. But isn't that lesson? Yeah, you must lose to learn.
And somewhere is the long, disappeared, the mystical LLLK.
Turns out it's a barcode, but just with a K at the end. That's the mystical one. We see Stugos getting interrupted from over the wall by DSL, but Pa is getting focused down. Teleport interrupted. Cleanse. Here's the lightning breath, but he will back up. Free Show, not so lucky. Quick reset acquired by LK.
Yep, the resets are there, and that means Pa needs to be on his tippy toes, because one wave of force, auto attack, missile combo could have been the end. DSL tries to go for yet another fight against Bruiser, has to gust a way into the death zone. That was a stylish kill for sure.
Cool.
However, it won't really give them much. Two alters still go over to the A team, and only the one in the bottom makes it to RPG.
But it's comeback XP. They're still exactly a full level behind. They are exactly where they were earlier, only minus most of their core. So all they have to do is not lose any more core health. Easy, right? As C's going to pull back.
Uh-oh. Good blocking there by Johanna, intercepting the Arcane Orb. Yeah. Otherwise, that would have hurt on Phoenix. The healing is definitely real. I mean, MJ is doing such a good job keeping people alive, but the damage output from the A team so far, or thus far, has been just slightly superior.
This is a 4 versus 3 currently in the spot lane as Free Show is trying desperately to split Soak so his team can try and get back. Sapper waddles in slowly as it was slowed by Pa. Pa engaged on again with a lovely cleanse, but it's interrupted. Wave of Force, lightning breath, and even the healing of Whitemane cannot save Phoenix again. C getting Lornado.
Can't help either.
And there's nothing Whitemane can do here. Just time to port back and let the opponents kill the bell tower. Top lane though, looking to be traded out.
Looks like a trade. I was going to say, in Bell Towers, Bruiser took a lot of damage here. Yet again, the minions are going to keep that fort, distracted, so it won't shoot any of the heroes of RPG. So it was a trade. However, Tetcher, we know this, right? Just like on Dragonshire, for example, the bottom lane remains the most valuable one, simply because of that double mercenary pressure. And one of those camps, one of those Sapper camps is already on its way. And if that one goes through, and one altar is being capped, that is game over. Both altars getting capped, game over. The A team has so many tools to choose from.
Yep. 2 altars or one or all 3 of these sappers and 1 altar. 1, 2, 3. Better get to those.
Bad news.
Guys. Better get there. Either one of these will end the game now.
Gotta go bottom.
It's already on the point. Decade is sneaking bot. Look at Johanna. Race. You must get to the objective before it ends. Gust is used, but C sacrificed himself. Here comes the salvo. The last ditch effort from RPG in this first game. But Decade channels through on the altar, and the A team take game number 1.
And with a nice fireworks there towards the end, they take game number 1 on Towers of Doom. The A team is fully unleashed. They were a different team from yesterday, Tetra. They had amazing individual performances, especially by LK, in my opinion, who was popping off this time.
That was superb. Nicely done by the A team. Solid play indeed. Olele on that Reyna played a spectacular game, near perfection, perfect targeting the entire time. And like you said, LK, just gorgeous. And of course, we have to talk about Diablo. Insane engages over and over and over again here.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I want to see more of that. Like, the A team totally in control of this game. And the 3 people actually that you mentioned, I fully agree on. Olele, oh boy, what have we talked about this guy in the past, right? Back when he entered HGC China for the first time, we weren't really sure what to think of him. He actually was a sub. He wasn't even part of the initial roster at first and came in somewhat during the middle of the last season. And he's just showing such a strong performance right now. LK, I didn't even know who he was at the beginning of this phase. He came in anew as well, but man, oh man, has he had an impression on me.
Completely agree. He looks really good. I mean, he was a substitute for BTG LK, and then he comes in and his name used to be Sixth. He comes in, changes his name to AK.
We've never seen him. He hasn't played a single game for them.
He's never played. He's just been a sub. and just jumping into that, playing for the A team, and suddenly proving that he is a talent worth looking at. It has been absolutely fantastic.
And as much as we give cherish to the strong performance of the A team, we also have to talk about RPG. I think this is probably the most threatening crisis they've ever been through. As a team, we gave them so much praise in the past, especially DSL, who, to me personally, in this game looked shockingly unimpactful. And if players like DSL can perform, a team like RPG can hope to succeed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see that he seems to have once again reverted to a hero that was out of the meta because it was so vulnerable to burst and then got burst. It's exactly the kind of thing that would be known if he had been playing the last season.
Yeah.
Possibly, but the fact is he was away for like last 2 seasons due to having wrist surgery, obviously. He's learning, he's back, he's getting really good again, but I don't know what to say about that. He's been struggling a little bit on a lot of these heroes. The heroes he's done well on are like Cassia, a hero with armor.
And his Vala. We've seen
Hammer,
it that one
a hero
time.
with armor, and Vala once were against a team that his team were very good against.
Yeah, and the Falstad, right? It was picked, or it is normally picked, to provide global pressure, you know, to dominate objectives and all. However, those global ganks, especially on Malthael, they failed so many times. Bruiser, oftentimes the laughing third member that just walked away against 2 and bought so much time and created so much space for his allies to dominate the opposite side of the map. So not only did the ganks not work, he also had DSL and the Falstad had some terrible decision making with that Li Ming, for example. I really think that was one of the breaking points where Li Ming got that double kill onto RPG, easy peasy for no reason.
DSL is such a fascinating player in the fact that every hero he has won with once, he's won with more than 50% of the time he's played them.
Yeah.
Every other hero he's never won with. So, like, Cassia, 60%, Hammer, 66%, Reyna, 50%, Greymane, 100, Vala, 100. But then you look on the other side of it, Falstad, Jaina, Junkrat, Azebo, and Abatha, all 0% win rate.
That is correct. And if you look at the stats here, 20-5, that was super one-sided. If you basically didn't show me that A-Team was playing, if you hit the logo and the name of it, I thought it was a BTG RPG game or SBT RPG game, right? But then you show me the A-Team here, and I'm all of a sudden super excited. Look at the damage done here at the bottom as well. 191k against 143k. That was the difference that Li Ming and Raynor were able to make here. 8-1 and 10 LK. The Padawan of LLK doing so well. Almost looking like his master there. Almost 30% of the team's damage dealt.
I like that we're creating this internal
we're totally making up this storyline now.
It's so good. But yeah, LK showing up, substitute for ex-substitute for BTG, now showing up to play for the A-Team, and him, Kaitu, and Olele, sorry, Yitzcook now, and Olele just absolutely dominated.
Absolutely. By the way, I think your robotic version has made another appearance.
I'll try to fix it.
Sorry about that, guys.